Want to approach you, babe. How come you couldn't approach me?
Man.
Yeah, man.
Welcome back to our channel. Once again, you're tuned in with Moving Up with the Miclettes.
Moving on up.
That's right. And here we are today. What are we going to talk about today?
Story of how we met.
You've been dying to tell this story for some time. She likes to tell the story again and again.
Because, one, he don't ever get it right. Like, tell it right.
According to her.
I'll let you start it, though.
So for those of you who like to listen to the how we got started videos and how we met videos, this is catered to you, right? So how we met, babe, how we meet?
You can start.
So we met in college, right? Attending San Jose State University way back in, was it 2000 or 2001? 2001. I had got there in 2000. You had got there in 01?
Yeah.
So she's a few years younger than me, but we're not going to go into those details yet. Nonetheless, so yeah, we met in 01. We met by just pure chance, just by passing by, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, passing by. I think I was walking onto campus going to class.
Yes.
Yeah, because I didn't live on campus. I lived in campus housing, but not on campus. I lived in the Ville.
No, I don't think you lived in the Ville.
152.
I don't think you lived in the Ville.
In 01?
Yeah, I think you were living with Tony by then.
Nope. In 01, I was still in the Ville.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to the Ville. Shout out to Spartan Village. Yeah, 152. 152.
Anyway, so I actually lived on campus, and me and my roommate, it was during passing times, and so we were just kind of sitting on a bench. And
No, I was talking about how the time that we passed each other. Remember when we passed each other
okay,
right there by?
But I mean, like,
Oh, okay. All right.
That happened before.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
I think it was after the first time I had saw you, because then after that, like, I seen you.
I remember
we
that
passed
though.
each other again.
For some reason, that reminds me of like.
That was in front of the student health center.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that was after I think we had seen each other.
Oh, okay.
But so anyway, during like our passing periods, like, just so happened he was walking by. I mean, my roommate were sitting on the bench, and somehow we ended up like locking eyes, and I was just like, that's gonna be my baby daddy. No, I'm just kidding. No. Future husband. Future husband, yes. But yeah, so I seen him after that, and I was just like, I remember saying, oh, to my roommate, like, oh my God, he's so fine, he's so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And then from there, it was like we would see each other every, Monday and Wednesday?
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday. It was twice a week.
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. I don't remember exactly which days. Because I had class during the day, mostly, and then I had some night classes.
Yeah, so I think it was every, like, Monday and Wednesday, because it was before I would go to African American Studies. And, we would just see each other.
I remember that.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay.
So we would see each other and then at a certain point, like, it got to the point when we would see each other and we would just, like, wave.
Yep.
But we, hadn't approached each other or anything like that. It was just he'd walk by and, like, I'd wave, and, me and Tiffany, my roommate, shout out to Tiffany, love you, girl. We would just sit there basically waiting for him to come by, and she'd always be like, okay, Sherri, here come your boo. And so he'd pass, we'd wave, and then me and her would head on off to class. And who approached who first?
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you did. So this one here, Mrs. Miclette over here, had approached me. And it had been after some time of just walking by each other, waving at each other, seeing each other, smiling at each other, and so she approached me, and she was like, so how much longer are we going to be doing this for? Bold. Just up front. Woman knows what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what you mean?
Yeah, he was all shy and timid. So apparently I had to approach him, but I later found out the reason I basically had to approach him. So when I approached him, I asked, how long are we going to keep doing this for? And he's like, what? I'm like, keep walking by, smiling, waving. And he was like, oh, I don't know. And so, we conversed for a little bit, asked each other, what's your name, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then I said, oh, so can I get your number? And that was when you said what?
I said, I'm sorry, I can't.
Why couldn't you?
Because I'm in a relationship.
So this whole time I've been, checking this man out. He was in a relationship. But I did respect the fact that he was in a relationship. And I actually told him that. I said, you know what? I appreciate you for honestly telling me you were in a relationship. Because a lot of dudes would have just been like, yeah, I'll give you my number. Or yeah, let's hook up, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Not all, which he didn't. But, some of them.
And again, this was years after we had first met. Like, this was not in 2001. This was later.
No, it wasn't 2001 where I approached you. We didn't start dating until 2003. No. But I approached you in 2001. Because you still were in that relationship. And y'all had y'all issues for however long after that. So, anyway, back to the story. So, once he told me, he was in a relationship, I was like, all right. I was like, dang. I was like, oh, I'm heartbroken. And he was like, no. I'm like, but like I said, I do appreciate that. So, from that point, like, we would still see each other, still wave. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like I would, like, start seeing him out around town and...
You know how when you start getting to know people pretty well and you get used to seeing their face, you start recognizing people. You're like, mm-hmm. Oh, I've seen you before. And then you start talking, you start getting, you get used to seeing them around. Mm-hmm. You start small talk, then, you get comfortable. Yeah.
So then I think it was in August at some point. I think this, like I said, this fast forward to what, mm-hmm. like, what was that, 2003-ish? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so fast forward 2003, in our city, they would have, like, music festivals every Thursday.
San Jose was known for music in the park. Mm-hmm. This was, if you're in San Jose and you remember what it was like in the early 2000s and, to mid 2000s, music in the park was a summertime go-to. Like, if you were in town, you were going Thursday nights. And then the occasional Friday nights or Saturday nights, depending on what was happening. And then, of course, Jazz Festival, San Jose Jazz Festival, Juneteenth, just all kinds of summertime fun, you know what I mean? But yeah, so it was at a Thursday night.
It was a Thursday night, and it was at the Music After Dark. So I had seen him there.
And your boo at the time was singing.
Chico the Barge.
Music in the park.
So Chico the Barge was there that day, mm-hmm. and me and my girls had went and, we seen him and all that stuff. But anyways, I had seen him at Music After Dark, and he was kind of just like standing there listening to a group that was up or listening to music, whatever the case was. And I had approached him again, and we just talked and, just catching up a little bit. And then I was like, oh, so how's your relationship? And he was like, oh, we broke up. And I was like, okay. We talked for a little bit longer, and then I was like, oh, so, let me give you my number. And
back in the day, you had to write numbers down on paper. You know what I mean?
No, we had cell phones, but I don't know why we didn't exchange it that way.
You gave me paper though.
Yeah, I gave him my number on a piece of paper. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, we didn't exchange DMs. We didn't exchange screen names. We didn't exchange through instant messaging. Oh, what's your handle? What's your IG? No, this was back way before that. Before that. Yeah.
Anywho, so yeah, I gave him my number, and after I went home that night, my girls, I was like, he finally single. Yeah, no. So, what happened after that?
A few months went by.
And I started seeing him. Me and my girls, we used to get into the club. We ain't gonna throw nobody under the bus. It's closed down anyway.
Yeah, don't get into that.
But we used to go into this 21 and over club, and I think I was what, 19?
You were not 21 or over. You were not 21 or over. Okay, I remember that.
So I was 19, and like we were going.
Allegedly,
I was. So we were going to this club, and he actually used to spin there. He used to DJ there, and I was like, dang, I'm just seeing this dude like everywhere. I'm like, it's meant to be. It is meant to be, babe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we would flirt and do all that and dance together and and so August came and went, September came and went, October came and went, and then my birthday was approaching. And I remember like a week before, I told him, I was like, we were just talking inside the club, and I was like, oh, I'm like, do you still have my number? And he was like, yeah. I was like, lose it. And he was like, what? I'm like, lose my number. I said, I'm done waiting on you. Like, I'm over it. I'm over the situation. I'm over you. And he was just like, no, I'm gonna call you. He's like, I'm gonna call you at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I said, don't call me on booty call hours because I won't answer the phone. And he was like, no, I'm gonna call you. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I was completely over it. I was over him. I was good.
And now let me say this too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of anybody ever, even myself included, ever telling somebody else to lose that number.
I don't know about that.
I ain't never heard of that. That's the first time. That was some real stuff right there. When someone tells you could lose my number, that was unheard of. Like, I had never been told that. I had never said that. I had never heard of anybody that has ever been told that in their lifetime.
Sherri said it.
Yeah, so when she a bold one.
Fast forward to actually the night of my birthday. I had went out with, some of my girlfriends, went to dinner, but I had to go to work early the next day at like 5:30. So I'm like, I turned in early, and then just so happened, like, I get a phone call, and I'm like, he's talking. I'm like, who's this? And he's like, this is Joseph. I'm like, Joseph. He was like, DJ Apocalypse. I was like, oh. Like I said, I was already over it. Like, I wasn't expecting him to call, so I was done. But he was like, oh, can I come over? And I'm like, do you want to?
Can I come over?
I was like, if you want to. He was like, I don't know if I should accept that or not. And I'm like, look, do you want to come over? So
I was asking for permission, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I was.
But so he came over, and like, that was a night where everything changed. We talked and, conversed, found out we actually previously lived kind of very close and, back in high school, like in the same places, Central California. Just,
Got to find out we actually had a lot in common, kind of growing up, and then of course learned a lot about one another, that we still recognize today, how we're still learning about each other. But yeah, that was the night we had a long conversation.
Yeah.
And
then I had to kick his ass out because I had to go to work the next morning. But he was like, yeah, I'll call you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But he actually did, call after that. And granted, it took a whole, how long for us to actually become official?
Months. Years.
I was about to say, you add a year to that. It took a whole year and a half dealing with him because he was on I just got out of a relationship. I don't want to, get back into one. And he was on the, just lollygag and dragging his feet. And I'm like, all right.
Sometimes you just don't feel like you're ready, and you don't. Here's the deal: you don't realize when you're ready, and you think you're gonna know when you're ready, right? And so you want to control that, right? And so sometimes we put ourselves in a position where we want to control when we think we're ready, when we just need to let go of that control and just go with it, right? And just be willing to commit to something that you're essentially already committed to without knowing it, and you're trying to hold on to the non-commitment, and realizing that that's actually not that's not as beneficial to you as it would be if you just go with it, just commit to it.
But I mean, during that time, I told him, I'm like, all right, well, if you don't want to be in a committed relationship, I'm still gonna date other people. Like, me and him were still talking, but I still dated other people, and he had to be okay with that.
And I was, because I had to respect the fact that you were respecting my position. You know what I mean? And so you have to, it's a two-way street, right? You have to respect that. And so when somebody is willing and giving you what you want, and willing to meet you halfway, you have to do the same. You absolutely have to do the same. And it works like that whether you're in a committed relationship. It works like that whether you're in a non-committed relationship, open, whatever the case may be. And then eventually, once you are in a committed relationship, you have to keep that, right? So the continuous giving and being willing to meet in one place, meet in the middle, that's super important. So that never goes away, never goes away. And I think that's something that has been our strength as a couple, and of course being married. I feel like that's something that we definitely hold strong within our relationship and keeps us strong. The fact that we're willing to meet halfway. Yeah. You know.
And the fact that I was honest the whole time. Like I told him, like, okay, well, you know, I'm not sure when you're gonna want to, you know, be in a committed relationship. You know where I stand, but if that's the case, then I'm gonna date other people. And I was honest with those other people, and I told them, like, I am, you know, talking to somebody. But we're not in a committed relationship. So they knew as well. I mean, there was like, you know, like three other people, but we ain't counting. But I'm not saying that there was sexual relations with these people, just dating, you know, just that's it.
The fact of the matter is being willing to meet halfway, you know, being willing to give and not take, you know.
Yeah. So eventually, in, you know, a year and a half later, we got together, and, you know, it's been all right.
It's been all right. No, it's been amazing. Yeah, it's been amazing. Getting married in 2008. Just, you know, finished celebrating 12 years of marriage last weekend. You know, to think that we've been on this journey as long as we have, and you know, things are as great as they are, and they're getting better. And I think that's the one thing that really resonates with me, is you just never know when you're gonna be faced with an opportunity to make your life better, because you don't know what's gonna be down the line. You don't know what your future has.
You gotta let your blessings in. Let your blessings in. Stop blocking them.
There's a lot of blessings right here.
You know it.
I do. I do. So yes, all the blessings.
Yes.
Accept your blessings.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. So that is the story. That is the story of, well,
how we met.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the story of us, but definitely the story of how we met. How it all started.
Exactly.
How it all started. Shout out.
Go ahead.
Shout out to Spartanville 152.
What number was I in?
Oh yeah, because you lived there for a few months.
What do you mean? The whole year? Anyways, I don't remember.
I was there for 2 years.
Yeah, shout out to
What up, Maze? What up, Maze? My man, Aunt Maze.
You know, so how did you meet your significant other, your partner, you know?
Yeah, tell us your story. We want to hear your story.
It ain't got to be all drawn out. You can just say one word. And who approached who first?
Yeah, so when did y'all meet and who approached who? All right? So share that story down below in the comments. How did you meet? Who approached who? Let us know. All right? So I guess we'll see you all in the next video.
Yes.
Right? Oh, we forgot to tell them something. Give us a thumbs up. Share the story. Share the page. Subscribe.
Like. Thumb it up.
Ring the bell. Throw some hearts. You know, all that stuff.
I think you're kind of merging to IG. Throwing hearts.
Hey, whatever. Whatever you throw at us, throw at us.
You know what to do.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Welcome back to the channel. Our channel or the channel?
We could say R, I guess.
Okay. All right. Go for it.
Welcome back to the channel. What happened?
All right. Okay. Here we go. On 3, 2.
What?
All right. Let's pause right there. We can pause it. No. Just let it go. I'll do the edits.
Okay.
Have you been looking at yourself the whole time, or you've been looking at the camera?
Oh.
You've been looking at yourself the whole time.
I mean, it's hard not to look at myself.
Babe,